All right, welcome everybody again to Interview Thursday. We now have our second special guest with us today. Hopefully, I don't butcher names. And Yuri Kuzubov, is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Awesome. And he is a grandmaster from Ukraine, the husband of the last interviewee. And we are definitely honored to have him here today. So thank you very much for joining us. And let's go ahead and start with you and talk about um, who you are and what it is that got you into chess.
Hello, my name is Yuri Kuzubov. I'm international grandmaster from Ukraine.
Mhm.
Now I'm living in Odessa, but originally I'm from Kramatorsk. So I start playing chess at the age of 6, I believe. Yeah. Uh, I start play yes at 6.
Mhm.
I was in the kindergarten and somebody bring the chess set
Uh-huh.
to the kindergarten. I actually don't know who it was. Probably some children or probably some teachers. I don't know.
Mhm.
And after this, I asked my father to teach me chess, how to play, how the pieces move, and so on. Um, mm, Later, I go to my first professional coach, Sergei Polantsev,
Okay.
uh, and mm, he teach me chess for a long time, for a long years.
Mhm.
So probably it's most mm, important coach in my life.
All right, awesome. Was he with you through your tournament career as well?
Actually, no, because unfortunately he is not alive for
Uh,
this moment. So
okay, rest in peace to him. Well, obviously making it to the level that you are at now, he did an excellent job with you. So, congratulations to him and to you as well. So, yeah, and during your chess career, have you ever traveled outside of Ukraine to maybe the U.S. or other?
yes, of course, I have I have a lot of countries
Mm-hmm.
that I visited, and of course I was in the United States twice. First time was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
In I was in Lubbock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a round robin tournament, 6 players uh, to circles, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and actually, I won this tournament on a tie break.
All right.
And the second time was, I believe, a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
2019, in St. Louis. It was spring spring cup or winter cup.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Oh no, sorry, not spring, autumn cup.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the September, and I shared third and fourth place. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so not the huge achievement for me, but okay.
But it
Um,
was definitely strong competition.
yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Uh, if you can, who were some notable players that also played at that tournament, at the one in St.
Uh,
Louis?
Alexei Dreyev was
Oh,
playing at that tournament, and actually he won this tournament.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, and also before, or along with chess, when you're in school and so on, did you have any aspirations to do anything other than chess, or was it just like 100% let's do chess?
Most of time, yeah, it was mm, my only job, my only hobby, my only love.
Mm-hmm.
So during my whole life, I was sure that my life will be connected with chess.
Awesome. And during your career, when did you obtain your grandmaster title?
I obtained my grandmaster title at 2005. Yeah, and international master 2003. Yeah.
Oh wow! So just in 2 years, you got the next level. Excellent.
Yeah.
That must have been.
But actually, I get a norm in 2004. But you know, a long year, a lot of years ago, the Congress, FIDE Congress, was not so often like now. Yeah.
Right.
It was only once per year or probably twice per year,
Mm-hmm.
something like this. That's why I obtained my norm only in 2005.
Right. And if try to remember, you peaked at about 2680, 2680 or 2681? Two
For
thousand
for
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 your
now, or
peak rating, top rating.
my peak rating was 2699,
2699.
and actually,
Okay.
yeah, and actually my life rating was at some moment 2700.
Whew. Holy moly. All right, so we have I mean, so last week I had the first grandmaster that I interviewed, woman grandmaster, and the level that she was saying the moves, I was just like, okay, I'm blown away. So I'm about to I'm gonna try to keep up with you if I can. All right, so let's go ahead and get started today. What is it you will be showing us for the first game here?
Yes, I'm ready to show it. My recent game from Ukraine Championship. It was the last game, and I have to win this game to compete for some higher places.
Okay.
So I played against Ukrainian young talent Platon Galperin. I played with white, so c4. After some moves, position transposed to some Carlsbad structure. Yeah, pawn takes, bishop g5, bishop e6, e3, knight to d7, bishop d3, bishop d6. The black's idea here is very simple, is to play c6 next move and queen c7 and try to kick this bishop from g5, or even to exchange these bishops. I will show you further.
Okay.
All the ideas castle.
That was a deep idea there.
Yeah, c6, and now bishop f4. It's against the plan of queen c7, because if white play any neutral move like queen c2, for instance, now black wants to play queen c7, and after some moves like, I don't know, rook d1, h6, bishop g5, h4, g5, bishop g3 to capture on g3 and start pushing these pawns on a king side. And of course, black king will go to the queen side.
Okay.
It's the first idea. And the second idea here is to play first knight g4, attacking h2 pawn, and after h3 to return this knight on f6, and then play h6, g5 with the idea even to win this pawn on g3.
Okay.
So that's why I decided here to play bishop f4, queen c7. Of course, bishop takes f4 is not the best move here, because after e takes e4, now white has extremely danger square on e5 for this knight, yeah, and of course f5 threat to win this bishop. And after bishop g4, white has a very important intermediate check, queen e1, unpinning the knight, and next move is knight e5. And black has some problem with this bishop, because now white wants to win this bishop for nothing after h3, g4, f5.
Oh, I'm sorry. So before, just a couple questions to set the stage for this game. Obviously, young talent, Platon. I can't pronounce his last name.
Galperin.
Galperin. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you prepare for your opponents before the game? How do you prepare as well for tournament games?
Of course, I have prepared. I
Hmm.
prepared a lot because Platon played a lot of openings, and it's very hard to uh, predict which opening he will play for a next
Hmm.
game. So actually, it was surprise for me that he decided to play Queen's Gambit, declined, yeah, with third move a6. So
Hmm.
I haven't prepared this line, but actually I analyzed this position for both sides a lot, and I know all the ideas here for white and for black.
Okay. And I have a question, more of a personal question, because it feels similar to one of my openings. I play the London system, and normally we don't want to trade this bishop, or at least it's not on g5 first, but when black contests, we usually drop back. So in this case, is it possible to match the idea of leaving the bishop on f4 in the London system?
Mm,
Sorry, I know that's kind of a deeper question. Sorry.
yeah, it's very hard to say.
Hmm.
um, Chess is a concrete game, very so every position have his own uh, ideas, tactics, and so on.
Okay.
Here, of course, this bishop could be very annoying on d6, yeah,
Hmm.
make some problems to h2 pawn and connecting with idea h6 and g5. That's why black king is not castled yet, yeah,
Gotcha.
on e8, and black has two options, always to castle in a short or long side.
Okay.
So that's why this line is very tricky, and white should be very careful here.
Okay. Thank you.
So bishop f4, queen c7,
Hmm.
bishop takes d6. Yeah, of course, here white has an extra option to play queen d2 to control f4 square. Yeah,
Hmm.
but this position I don't like it for white because it's very hard to do next move for white.
Okay.
Yeah, because queen on d2 is not the best place for this queen. Yeah, and okay, black also have a problems with moves, but I don't like this kind of positions for white. So
Okay.
that's why I decided to exchange these bishops and play h3 to
Hmm.
make this bishop on e6 a little bit useless, because now this bishop is only staying on e6 and doing nothing.
Okay.
It's prophylaxis against bishop g4.
Right.
Castle and rook b1, with idea to start a typical plan here for white is minority attack, yeah,
Hmm.
with the idea to play b4, a4, and b5, try to create some weaknesses on the black queen side.
Hmm.
A5. Actually, I don't like this move. Here is typical plan for black is to exchange these bishops. For instance, to play g6, then knight h5 or knight e8,
Hmm.
knight g7 or knight d6 and bishop f5. Because this bishop, as I said, a little bit useless, yeah, and my bishop can help me to um, promote, to push my pawn to d5
Okay.
after
Okay.
b4, a4. A5 looks a little bit like waste time because black played first a6, then a5,
Hmm.
a3, g6, queen c2 to connect my rooks to prepare rook c1 before b5. b5. Uh, Not the best option here, as I understand, because now c6 pawn became too weak. And if black will play c5 in the future, then d5 pawn also became weak.
Hmm.
So probably black should return to the typical plan, like knight h5, knight g7,
Hmm.
and bishop f5.
How would you describe your chess style? Because this is very different from your wife's play. She's attack, and this just feels positional.
Um, It's very it's very hard question because I cannot answer you that my style is more positional or more attacking, because now all the chess players, especially professional chess players, should be very flexible and should be a little bit more universal.
Gotcha.
Like you have to know how to attack, how to defend, how to play positional chess, and so on, how to play end games especially. So I have a lot of games where I have
incredible attacks.
incredible attacks, yeah, incredible end games, and so on.
Gotcha. So it's important to be very flexible, guys.
Yeah, 92. It's a prophylaxis against b4 because it's also typical plan here for black to play b4 and then to play c5 to obtain some space advantage on the queen side. 92, and of course at some moment my rook can go to c1, probably knight to d3. That's why b4, pawn takes, knight f4. So now white wants to double the rooks on the c file to attack c6 pawn. That's why c5 is necessary here. Pawn takes, and knight d4. So now black leaves with isolated pawn on d5 and this bishop on d6, which is quite stupid for this structure, yeah.
Yeah.
And also white has better placed pieces, especially knights on f4 and d4, and the same white here has a clear plan to play rook d1, rook c1, probably bishop e2, bishop f3, start make pressure to e4 pawn.
And getting your knight to d4, I assume, is also stopping any of these plans, or to play the knight to g7 bishop here and stuff.
Yeah, of course now this plan like knight e8 or knight h5, knight g7 doesn't work, yeah, because my knight is already on d4.
Okay.
So that's why my opponent played bishop d7 with idea to play knight e6 to exchange one of these knights, d4 or e4, and to try to control d4 square. Queen d2, knight d6. Of course, not knight e4 because I can capture on e4, and if black captures with the knight, then black leaves with isolated pawn on d5, and even if black capture with the pawn after, for instance, rook c1, black has some problems with these weak pawns on e4 and b4, and white hasn't any weaknesses, so that's why white here is better. Not so much, but clear advantage, clear plan here. Any endgame should be better for white. So my opponent decided to exchange these knights, and here I'm proud of my decision to capture on e6. Knight f takes e6, f pawn takes. Of course, if bishop takes, rook to c1, rook f to c1, or rook b to c1, and also black has some weaknesses b4 and d5. So that's why my opponent captures with the pawn, with idea to kick my knight from the center after e5, and f4, with idea to block this square after knight f3 and knight e5, forcing black to play e5, pawn takes, queen takes, and rook f3. Now white changed the plan, because now white has also a weakness on e3, but white has only one weakness on e3 which could be very easily defended by the rook from f3 and queen d2. And black has one extra weakness here, is the king, because g6 is already played. Now knight on f6 became very unstable, unprotected, and as you know, you should place your knights to the protected squares. So that's why this knight became a little bit misplaced.
And may I ask another question? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
For this pawn over here on b2, you're mentioning that you only have the one weakness on e3. How is b2 pawn not a weakness?
Because black cannot attack this weakness directly.
Okay.
My queen can attack b4 pawn, and black queen cannot.
Gotcha.
Rook a2 looks very, I don't know, very useless move because b2 pawn is very protected, and black can attack this pawn only once, and white can attack this pawn on b4 a lot of times, like with queen, with knight, with rook from fourth rank, and so on.
Gotcha. Okay, so the pawn or black's pawn has overextended in the position.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right, thank you. I was kind of a little confused there.
Most important thing here is that black king became weak because g6 is already played.
Okay.
Rook f3, g5 was played. It's a mistake. Better was to play king g7, try to protect this knight. Probably then rook goes to e8, or probably first black should protect this pawn on b4 by playing queen e7 or queen d6. Anyway, white has better chances here. And the most important thing here is that after knight e4, bishop takes e4, for instance. If black captures with pawn, also black leaves with these pawns, weak pawns. And the same thing happens when queen captures e4. For instance, after rook f1, at some moment, black should be forced to trade all the rooks, and white can enter this endgame like queen with knight, which the queen with knight is better than the queen with bishop, especially when your king is very weak. So any endgame with the queens should be better for white.
Gotcha.
G5 was played. It's a decisive mistake here because black idea is very simple, to play g4, try to open white king, to have some counterplay. But my opponent missed a very strong move, bishop f5 now. Of course, my bishop on d3 is better than bishop on d7, but after g5, f5 square is available for white pieces.
Okay.
Bishop f5.
Wow.
G4 was played. Of course, bishop f5 now is not possible because after rook f5, both of the queen and pawn is hanging, and white can win a pawn here for free. So that's why g4 was played, and pawn takes g4, knight takes, and of course bishop takes g4, bishop captures, and rook f4. One more strong move for white. Of course, now black cannot capture because after pawn takes, now my pawn on e3 is no more weak, queen f6, and also white has a clear plan, rook e1, rook e5, and rook g5. With better position, and of course this pawn still weak, king still weak, and white should win. That's why h5 was played with idea to protect f3 square, not allowing this knight to go to f3 back. Rook f1 and rook to e8. One more mistake from my opponent. Probably he missed my next move. Is king h1, extremely strong prophylaxis against queen e3 because pawn was hanging on e3. Queen e7, now queen e3 is not possible, because of a typical combination, rook f8, if rook captures, and queen e3, white leaves with an extra queen. And if king g7 here, then white can capture first on e3 and then on a8. It's typical deflection, typical tactics.
Oh boy. When it's being told typical, I'm like, uh-oh, I should get this down.
Oh no, it's not so complicated,
Mm-hmm.
believe me. It needs only calculation for a few moves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Queen e7 was played,
Mm-hmm.
and now Knight f5. Now White is ready to exchange knight to the bishop, because this bishop protects all the squares around the king. And after bishop takes f5, rook takes f5, all the black pawns are weak, all the black pawns are hanging,
Wow.
and also king is extremely weak. And after rook f5, black's position is absolutely hopeless because of these weaknesses.
Right.
Queen h4, check, king g1, d4. Otherwise, I will capture on d5 with the queen or with the rook, with winning position. Pawn takes, rook d8, d5, rook d6, and I won this game easily.
Yeah.
Oh, I won all of these weaknesses, yeah, on b4 and d5.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, and now I decided to exchange the queens and enter easy endgame for me. Rook d2, rook b1, and one pawn is enough here to win, because black rook is very passive, yeah. In the rook endgame, you know. Now my king goes to h4 and win another pawn.
That's incredible. Just one pawn is enough. Wow.
It was last trap from my opponent. Now white cannot capture on h4 because of checkmate from h7. Yeah? But after rook b5, my opponent resigns, because next move is capture on h4 and g4, g5, and my pawn is unstoppable.
Wow.
And I won this game, and I shared second place, but my tiebreaks was not the best, and I only gained third place in the Ukrainian championship this year. It was 3 weeks ago.
Aha,
So,
that was the one that your wife told me about. Awesome. That's got to be fun to travel all the time, to go ahead and play at these tournaments. That's great.
Yeah, I believe I played this game very well. It's a good example of positional play in chess for white. Yeah, a lot of decisions, a lot of structures here was in the game. So
yeah, if I may go back real quick to ask a couple questions on some of the points there. So way back. Okay, so c5 in this position before he weakened the d pawn. Is black structure still pretty okay here, or is it just pretty much it's going to be a squeeze and it's hard to hold?
You should understand here, black already has weak pawn on c6, and anyway, black's structure will be weaker than white structure, because if you play c5, you will get this pawn on d5 weak. If not, then c6 pawn will be weak.
Okay.
So black should choose which structure black wants to play here, with c6 weakness or d5 weakness.
Okay. And I guess this was the most practical try. Open the position some, get some counterplay going. And then the rest of the game for you was just to make these weaknesses as big as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. That's incredible. I cannot even fathom that idea. Oh wow. And then when their opponent played g5, you mentioned it's a mistake. Did it pop out at you immediately it's a mistake? Or did it take some time? Like, did this square just like, boom, like, you got it?
No, here I understand that only black counterplay could be connected with promoting G pawn. First of all, here want to play rook f4,
Mm-hmm.
because rook f4 looks more logical than rook f3, because now you want to play knight f3 and win this pawn for nothing. And of course, black never wants to capture on f4.
Mm-hmm.
But here, for instance, after knight h5, black starts also use these weak squares. For instance, rook captures. Next move is knight g3,
Mm-hmm.
and also white king in some kind of danger here.
Wow, just one move. One square can make a big difference. Wow.
Yeah, that's why rook f3, it's
Mm-hmm.
not only prophylaxis, not only defense of e3 square, but it also defends g3 square
Mm-hmm.
here. And after rook f3, black hasn't this idea of bishop h3,
Mm-hmm.
which probably was a threat here, and then check on g3.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Awesome. I'm glad I'm able to keep up just barely here. And yeah, so that was a great first game. And
It's a good example how to play chess without any tactics, how to win a game without any combinations,
mhm.
without any fireworks or something else.
That's awesome.
Not only tactic in chess,
Mm-hmm. And especially, obviously, when you get to the higher levels, your opponents are not going to be making as many tactical mistakes. So you have to find these long-term plans to win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay. And we have someone in the Twitch chat here, Guy Bielderman. He also plays the English, so I'm sure that he really enjoyed watching this game. So go
But
ahead.
actually, it was not English opening, yeah, because
With
it's
transpose,
only
yeah.
yeah, it's only first move c4, but
Mm-hmm.
after 3 moves, it.
And you got to be prepared for these transpositions. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much for showing this first game. So what do you have for us now on the second one?
Yes, I have a second game. It's a rapid game, online game. It was played a few days ago.
All right.
In World League on chess.com. Actually, I don't know the real name of my opponent. It's only a nickname.
Okay.
I played with white, and here I want to show you that I also can attack, not only playing positional chess.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
c4, knight f6. Now it's the English opening. e4. It's a new move, very popular now for white. g6. Here is not the best decision here for black. Black has many opportunities to play bishop c5 or bishop b4, two main moves here for black, because after g6, d4, it transposed to some king's Indian defense. Yeah, pawn takes, but the difference is that the knight is already on c6. And as you know, in the king's Indian defense, knight on c6 usually not best placed.
Right.
Bishop g7, probably black should start from d6 to avoid white next move is to capture on c6. B pawn takes. If d pawn takes, then after exchanging the queens and playing bishop f4, white has better chances, better structure. Yeah, black already have double pawns, weakness on c7, and after long castle f3, g4, h4, white has clear advantage here.
Right.
So that's why my opponent decides to capture on c6 with b pawn. But after e5, I start asking questions to this knight. So queen e7, of course, knight h5 is not possible because of g4, and white leaves with the extra knight. Queen e7 first, queen e2, knight g8, the same thing. Yeah, if knight h5, then g4, winning this knight. and
Such a sad move.
yeah, and somehow the structure transposed to some Scotch defense. Yeah, you know, e4, e5. I will show you very quick. But usually this knight not on g8 but on b6. E4 after e4, e5. Yeah, capture, capture, knight f6, capture, capture, e5, knight d5. Oh, sorry, queen e7 first. Queen e2, knight d5, c4, and here black has one of the possible moves here is knight b6. Yeah, as the same structure, but actually knight on b6, of course, is better placed than on g8.
Yeah. That's a really cool transposition.
Yeah. So you, it looks very funny. I start playing English opening, yeah, then transpose to some kind of King's Indian defense, yeah, and after a few moves we enter some Scotch defense.
Wow, that's really cool.
Knight g8, bishop f4. Of course, it's a big difference when this knight on g8 and on b6. Now white is already have an advantage because next move is long castle, probably then g3, bishop g2, and black has a problem with this knight.
Yeah.
Bishop a6. It's a mistake. Better was here to play knight h6, castle, castle, knight f4. Anyway, white has better chances here due to this knight, due to this passive bishop on c8, and also white control all the central squares here. And as you know, in the opening, you should fight first of all for the central squares.
Right.
Bishop a4, long castle, king b1. It's a typical prophylaxis, yeah, to avoid some checks from this diagonal. f6, queen e3, taking a7 pawn. Here my opponent make a mistake. Decisive f pawn takes e5. Better was king b8, but after knight d5, I was planning here to play to sacrifice a knight. C pawn takes with extremely
oh my goodness gracious.
attack. Yeah, now bishop is hanging. If black capture on f1, I have a
D6.
very powerful intermediate move. d6, pawn takes, and queen b3 check, king a8, of course, queen f3, king b8, and rook captures on f1, and rook d3, rook b3 followed by checkmate is unstoppable here. As you can see, all the black pieces is unable to protect the king.
There's no Scotch knight here.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
if black leaves this bishop alive after bishop b7 with idea to protect the king, then rook d3, also with winning idea, rook b3, pawn takes, d6, the same intermediate move, pawn takes, bishop g5, knight f6, and rook a3, followed by very quick checkmate after queen a7, bishop a6, this rook goes to c1, and so on. If you don't believe me with my lines, you can check it by yourself. You can analyze this.
Oh no, I believe you. Trust me. I just finished a book, The Art of Attack, with Vukovic, and it talks a lot about, you know, material doesn't matter so much when you're striking at the king, especially when he's weak and the pawns are weak. So it just feels like an attack that should work, as opposed to needing to calculate.
Yeah, because all of these pieces cannot help the king,
right?
Black king, and all my pieces are in attack. Yeah, rook, queen, then bishop, then this rook to c1.
Are you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And last line here is to capture on e5. Of course, d6 first, pawn takes, queen b3 check, followed by bishop a6 and checkmate in a few moves.
That's rough. But that's not what was played.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my opponent here captures on e5. Queen takes a7. Now queen a8 is a threat to checkmate in one. That's why bishop b7 and c5. If now e-pawn captures, then bishop a6, followed by checkmate. If bishop captures, queen a8, checkmate in one, of course. And if d6 or d5, then bishop b7, and white has extremely danger attack for nothing. I mean,
yeah.
material is equal. That's why my opponent played d6 here, and it's a small puzzle for the viewers. Now white to play. Of course, white here has a huge advantage, but you can pause the video and try to find the shortest way here for white to play.
He's already a YouTuber, guys. This is great.
To win the position in a few moves. Yeah. Of course, any move here for white give white decisive advantage. Bishop e3, or first to capture on d6, then bishop e3, with idea probably g3, bishop h3, or bishop a6. But here I found a very nice combination to win a game in a few moves. Bishop a6. Black forced to capture on a6, and now knight d5.
Oh,
one
gosh.
More sacrifice, yeah.
Wow.
Using that fact that white knight is untouchable, because after c takes d5, c6.
Oh my gosh.
And queen a8 is unstoppable.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So now queen is hanging, and also black should keep c7 square under control because of queen c7 checkmate. Of course, not queen d7 due to the same checkmate on a8.
Yeah.
So that's why only move is queen f7, and now knight b6, forcing black to capture on b6 with the pawn, and queen f7. Actually, my opponent resigns after knight b6, but I will show you after queen f7, g7, bishop on g7 is hanging, and white leaves with an extra queen here, and easy win, of course.
Yeah. That's really awesome attack. Wow.
Yeah. This game is ended after knight b6, move number 18. Yeah.
Now, this was a rapid online game?
Yeah, a rapid online game. It's time control, something about 10 minutes plus 5 seconds.
Okay. In a position where, obviously you were saying it's a winning position, pretty much anything. Did you pause to calculate here? Just to find a knockout blow to end the game quick?
Yeah, here I start to calculate to find the shortest way here to win the game. Of course, I can play bishop e3 or c takes d6 and bishop e3 and win game also easily, because material is equal here, and white has extremely powerful threat like bishop a6. But okay, anyway, after pawn captures, bishop e3, it's not a direct win here for white. It needs white needs some moves here to checkmate black king, because next move is rook c1, knight b5, or knight d5, knight a4, bishop b6, knight a4, g3, bishop h3. So I don't know how many, 10 threats for white here. And of course, black cannot protect all these threats.
That is awesome. Thank you very much for sharing these games. That was really cool to watch at the end. Wow. And guys, if you by any chance speak Russian, feel free to go ahead and send him a follow on Twitch. Actually, do it anyway. Even if you don't, you can start learning it. He is, I'm going to put it into the chat here, Kuzyambr. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Kuzamber.
Kuzamber.
Kuzamber. Yeah.
There we go. He does Twitch streams as well. He's active. He was just on there recently, I think yesterday. So go ahead and send him a follow. Give him that support that obviously they all need, because they definitely deserve it. And yeah, thank you so much again for joining us today. This was excellent, and I hope I wish you the very best in the future of your chess tournaments to knock them all out.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So again, thank you guys so much for sticking around. We're going to have this on YouTube. Probably going to piece it together into one nice big video here. And thank you again to Yuri.
Yuri.
Okay. Grandmaster Yuri. So have a great day, guys. Thank you again.